All praises to the Most High God in the name of His loving Son, King, Lord of Lord. The Sabbath class is basically Esau, Edom. Who are the Edomites? Today we read about the Edomite in the Bible. There's a lot of history of the Edomites. Of Edom, you know, Edom is one of the big character in the Bible. Jacob is the biggest character in the Bible. Jacob, everything is surrounding Jacob. But Edom is the second nation in terms of importance in the Bible. There's a lot of importance in the Bible surrounding Edom because the Bible says Edom is the end of the world. Jacob is the one that followed. So if Esau is the end of the world, so that means that Esau will be in power in the end of the world. Esau will be controlling the end of the world. So it's important for us to understand who Esau is, right? Um, and Esau also, the Bible says Esau is the only one um, that God declared his hatred for. Only nation that God literally declared his hatred for. And it is the only nation in the Bible that God promised or prophesied that he will be wiped out. So all praises to the Most High God in the name of his loving Son and Son, Yahweh Shai, King of King, Lord of Lord. Um, let everything be done according to the will of the Most High God, not mine. So it is very, very important for us to understand who Esau is, what role Esau is playing, and this movie. It is a reality, but I'm gonna call it the greatest movie, you know, created by the Most High God. So we need to understand who Esau is. We need to find out who Esau is. Because Esau is promised to be destroyed. So we need to understand who Esau is. So if you do not understand who Esau is, then your understanding of the Bible is completely undone for. Because Esau is the end of the world. So Esau is the one who is powers in the end of the world. So we're gonna find out today who Esau is, right? And then that will give us a lot of understanding of what's happening in the world. The reason why everything that's happening in the world is happening, right? So this is why it's important. You need to understand who Esau is, because if you don't understand, once you understand who Esau is, then you understand why the religions, right? Why the wars, why everything that's going on today, all the evil, everything that's happening, you'll understand why. But you need to understand who Esau is, right? Because Esau has hid himself. Esau hid himself, right? So from the beginning, Esau continued to change his name to someone else. So you need to understand who Esau is. So first scripture I'm gonna read to you is First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. As always, for all things, hold fast that which is good. Right? For all things, hold fast that which is good. So we're gonna go from the beginning. Genesis, which means and Numbers, but we're gonna go to the beginning in Genesis where Esau was born. So the Genesis, the first mention of Esau was in Genesis chapter 25, right? So let's read it. I'm gonna read the top first, and I'm gonna read it in context. Genesis chapter 25, verse 22, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, "It be say so. Why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. But let's read the whole thing. And these are the generation of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. That's the first key to understand who Esau is. And then that's key also to understand what's going to happen between Esau and Jacob. So the first sign that you see in the verse that God already have given is that the children struggle together within her. So Jacob and Esau, from the womb, they were fighting. From the womb, they hated each other, and they will say so. He said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went and inquired to the Lord. So she went and inquired to the Lord because the children are struggling in her belly, right? So they're causing her a lot of pain. And the Lord said unto her, "Two nations on thy womb." So God told the first thing that God told her is that two nations is in your womb, Rebecca. Remember, the children they struggling together, and then now God telling Rebecca, "There's two nations in your womb." And two manner of people will be separated from your bowels. So the third sign we know is that these two children, fraternal twins, that's in your womb, not only that they fighting inside your womb, but they two separate nations, right? Because it says two manner of people will be separated from thy womb. There's two different people. There's two different mannerisms in your womb. This is this is extremely powerful and very strong. So these two people that's in your womb, they're two different nations. They are separated. They two different type of people, and they fighting and struggle together. And the one people will be stronger than the other. So out of these two fraternal twins that's inside your womb, right? Not only they're fighting with each other, right? They two separate nation, and not only they two separate nation, also they have two different mannerisms. So they look different. Their mannerism is different, their spirit is different, everything about them is different, right? And then it also say that one of them will be stronger than the other. One of them will be stronger than the other. And the elder will serve the younger. So the prophecy is within this context, within this chapter, the elder, whoever's going to come out first, the prophecy is he's going to serve the younger one. So that's another sign. We know that they struggle together. They're two different nations. They have two different mannerism, right? And one will be stronger, and then fifth, the elder will serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Fraternal twins. They didn't look alike because God had already tell you they have two different mannerisms. They're two different nations. So they don't look the same. They don't have the same skin tone, and it's gonna tell you. They don't have the same eyes, they don't have the same hair. There's nothing, they don't look like each other, right? And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. So the first thing that we know is that the first one that came out, he's the elder. Because now he's the elder, right? He came out red all over like a hairy garments. So now we know that there's a trick. And they call his name Esau. So his name was Esau. But I need to go to the next verse. Um to for Jacob. So you can see for Jacob, where am I? What verse am I? 24. I need to go to 25. 25. 25. I'll come back to it, but I need to go to 25. So When the day had delivered to be fulfilled, there were twin in the womb, and the first came out with all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that, his laughter out, and his hand took hold of Esau, which is also another sign. So this is the seventh sign. So far, we have read, like, if you read the Bible, you read the Bible piece by piece, and then you analyze everything piece by piece. Not only that they were struggling together, but they're two separate nations, and not only that they're two separate nations, they have two different type of mannerism, right? And one will be stronger than the other, and then the elder will serve the younger. So whoever came out first will serve the younger. So first we know that the elder is the one that came out red all over like a hairy garment. And the first came out all over red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. So we know that for sure Esau was the elder, because that's what it tells you. The first tell you Esau was the elder because he came out first. So he's the elder. So, and remember, prior to that, it tells you that the older will serve the younger. The older will serve the younger. So we know that Esau, who came out with all over like a hairy garment, will serve the younger. So now let's find out who the younger is. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 3 score years old. So Jacob took hold of Esau's heel, so which definitely represents something. And then there's a prophecy that Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the one next to follow. So that's what basically what that represents, right? So when people tell you that Esau's no more, Esau has been wiped out, I mean, if you tell me Esau's no more, that means that you really have not read the Bible, and then you really don't listen prophecy. You're gonna make God's words none effect, because the Obadiah chapter 18, and then also several verses where God speak. There's a lot of prophecy about Esau at the end of the world, of the things that Esau will be doing. And not only that, this says Esau is the end of the world. So if Esau is the end of the world, so we need to find out who is that man Esau is. So we know Esau is the elder. We know Jacob took his in and Esau's heel, and then there was no description for Esau. Esau, there was no description for Esau, and then I'm gonna show you what the Bible is, and then the scholars also agree, and I'll show you why. So let me go to some picture. Esau, okay. Esau and Jacob. Esau came. Esau, why this is one of the traits of Esau. Let me bring this here. One of the traits of Esau that and first came out with all over like a hairy garment. That was one of the first traits of Esau. He's wet all over like a hairy garment. So we see some pictures here, right? So this is the only thing that the so-called white people get right, right? But they claim everyone is white in the Bible. So whenever time they make a movie, they claim everyone is white, right? But for sure, Esau was a white man. So, but that's what we're trying to uncover, to prove to you that Esau was a white man, a so-called white man, right? And Esau was wet all over like a hairy garment. So meaning that Esau, because he was just born, and then I'm gonna show you a picture of new baby. Okay, here, right here. Um, I don't know why I group, remove group. I don't want anything to do. Remove group. Okay, I need the picture. Okay, right here. So even a so-called black baby, when a so-called black baby is born, the baby come out. I'll show you the reason why I'm showing that, but let's show the Esau. Let me focus on Esau first. Let me focus on Esau first. The reason why is because Esau, when he's born, his blood is showing forth through her skin. Let me type white baby instead of a newborn white baby. His skin, his blood is showing forth through his skin, like, right? So he looks red, especially if he or she has red hair, right? Because their skin has no melanin. As you can see this baby right here, you can see the blood is showing forth through the skin of the baby. So this was the first time that have ever happened, right? Was Genesis called the beginning, right? So in Genesis, it was the first time that Isaac saw a baby that came out like that. So when you're looking at so-called white people baby when they first born, the day that they born, you're gonna see them because when a baby is born, even a so-called black baby, also too when they born, their skin is a little lighter, right? Because um all the melanin has not been generated yet. It's only till like few months later, then they'll become to be a little darker and darker and darker, and until they reach their full skin color. But when a so-called white baby is born, which is stays within him, within her or him, that the skin is very red. The reason again because the skin is very red is because the blood show forth through the skin because the skin has no melanin, so that's why he called the red man. So one of his first thing to show that because Esau he came out red all over like a hairy garment, and then they did not describe Jacob. They didn't give you no description of Jacob. So those this things. So God gave us thing as a sign to wonder because God knew that Esau is gonna change his name. Esau is no longer gonna want to be Esau because God, the only nation God showed hatred for in the Bible is Esau, and I'm gonna prove that to you. And then the only nation that God promised to destroy is Esau, right? So, and then Esau also because he lost his birthright because he sold it, which we'll see, um, right? Because he sold his birthright, Esau is gonna try to pursue to kill Jacob and then steal the birthright back from Jacob, right? So if you continue to see here, the first came out wet all over like a hairy garment. So that's the first sign that we know who Esau is. We know out of all the nation that the 1%, and that's why you see a lot of them, they call them redneck. If you smack them, the face turn red. If they spend time in the sun, let's prove that. Uh, if they are in the sun, sunborn, they call them sun. This is not the kind of it's not showing me. Let me sunburn, I guess. Let me type sunburn instead. Yeah, okay, right here, sunburn. So better because technology they're gonna try to hide the truth. So he's the only one. He's the nation. Is the one nation that you know when he's in the sun. This is what happened to him. He turned red, right? So he is the red man. So there's no doubt that he's Esau, right? Just this alone with the prophecy, just this alone, this sign, it shows you who he is, right? But again, people have been indoctrinated. People they have not studied well, and then they don't know. So, but we need to understand who Esau is, right? Because we're in the last day. Esau is in the end of the world, which means that Esau has power at the last rulership before Christ come back, right? It says, and the first came out wet all over like a hairy garment, meaning he was wet and hairy. He's a wet and hairy man, wet and hairy man. So you can see that he's the man because of lack of uh, pigmentation, right? When he's in the sun, he get a sunburn and then his skin turn very, very wet. And then you can see that this is his trait. He's wet all over, like a hairy garment. So this is Esau trait. Esau trait that he's wet all over like a hairy garment. And then you can see that he's wet all over like a hairy garment. So he cannot hide from the trait that God gave him. He can try to hide from his actual name, who he is, but he cannot hide from the actual name that God gave him, Esau, Edom, right? Or hide from his trait. The other trait, I'm going to show you other trait of Esau. right? Which the Bible prophesy about. Um, so let's quickly read the description of Esau. So if you can see here, this is from the Bible dictionary. This is from the Bible dictionary. I have it, this Bible, this compact Bible dictionary. Again, this Bible dictionary is not by so-called black people, so-called white people that created this Bible dictionary. So from this Bible dictionary, I took an image, a picture of it, right? So we're gonna read from this Bible dictionary. Let's see who's Edom. So the Edomite rejoice over the affliction of Judea, the action instead of worthy, but no, let's find the other one who no, that's Alexander the Great. Um, okay, Edom. Edom, I don't know if you can see it, if you can read it. Uh, okay. Edom, Edomites. Edom, Edomites, where? Which is a line. Edom, Edomites. Wait. The other one, I need to change this. Change this so YouTube can also see what I'm showing. Okay. So Edom, Edomites. Edom, Edomites. The nation and its people who were the descendant of Esau. He founded the country, so his name is equal with Edom. Genesis chapter 25, verse 30, 36. The country was also called Zaire or Mount Zaire, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomite lived. So this information, it came from the Compact Bible Dictionary. So this is from the Compact Bible Dictionary. It tells you who Esau is, right? It tells you who Esau is. I have another page from that too. That's Alexander. Still Alexander. Okay, the Edomite. This is action and already blah and hatred and Jew Edomite. That's not the page I want. Edomite. There's a page that I want. That's Alexander. I know I have everything in here, but there's one thing I want. Okay, right here. No, that's not the page that I want. There's a page that I want. The best historical evidence. Hold on, please, because him. I don't have the page that I want from that. Okay, right here. I got it. This is the one I want from it. So Edom figure prominent in the prophecy scripture as the scene of great future judgment. She is notable. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 5, 6, 63, verse 1. She is Esau, meaning that Esau or the Edomite is the only neighbors of the Israelites. Esau's Israel's brother, Jacob's brother. So he's the only nation who was not given any promise of mercy from God. So Esau is the only nation who was not given promise, and this is from a compact Bible dictionary. This is from Christianity, but people don't read. So when you hear God, whosoever love the world will not perish but everlasting life, is a lie, because the same white man that teaches you that whosoever God love everybody is the same white man that tells you that in his own compact Bible dictionary that God don't have any promise for or mercy for Esau. So and then he understood that, and then he give you scripture where you can go and read it, and then also you can read it in Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18 that he's gonna be totally wiped out, and you're gonna see that from another book. From you're gonna see that from this book, I have picture of them. I'm gonna show you that yes, they understand that and there's no promise that is given to them, right? They understand that. So now let's go back. I need to change. Now let's go back to um to the image. So I prove to you from the scripture and then from the dictionary that the first came out went all over like a hairy garment, and then Esau's the oldest, and then Esau's wed, and then I show you pictures of Esau today that you know who Esau matches, right? Who is Esau? That's what we try and find out. Who is Esau? The Edomites. I have more proof. I have a lot of more proof to show you that the Esau Edomite are the so-called white people today, right? They've been hitting. They used to call themselves Caucasian. They call themselves everything. They call themselves Irish. They have all these different names, right? But their true nationality, their true race, their true bloodline is through Esau. Through Esau. So and then they have traits. God gave them traits. It's just like give up Jacob. God gave Jacob trait. So we know who Jacob is in this last day. It's the same way God gave Esau trait. He's wearing all over like a hairy garment. So that was the first trait that God gave Esau. And then not only that God gave Esau this trait, another trait God gave Esau, that he struggled with Jacob. And then he's two separate people, two different nations. They look different. They two separate people, they look different, and then one people stronger than the other, right? So we know that Esau is gonna continue to fight with Jacob, the Israelites. So we know Esau hate the Israelites. So Esau, we know Esau is the end of the world. So we know Esau is gonna continue to put policies, different things, and so forth to continue to destroy Jacob because Esau hated Jacob from the womb. Esau hated Jacob from the womb, right? So these people hate Jacob from the womb. These people hate the Israelites from the womb, right? And then this is why they have all these different type of religions, all different things. So let's continue to prove that. This is the one. This is the reason I'm reading the scripture for you. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech you. Remember when Aaron and Moses' sister Miriam, and then they complained that Moses took this Ethiopian wife, right? And then God heard it, and then God got upset against Miriam and Aaron, but Miriam was the one. So God, this is what God did. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he come out of the mother's womb. So let's with the first thing. Miriam become leprous, white as snow. So Miriam she became leprous, white as snow, right? So this is what Aaron said. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he come out of the mother's womb. So when someone come out of the mother's womb, it seems like his flesh is half consumed, even so-called white baby. But the difference between white people is they're normally wet, but black baby they're not wet, but their flesh seems as they white as snow. So who called themselves white? So again, this is another a sign to show you that they literally align themselves with the kind of people that been prophesied in the Bible. They wed, and then also to the line it says a million become leprous white as snow. And then Aaron said unto Moses, let her not be as one dead. Because when people are dead, whether so-called black people or white people, their skin become whiter. Right? Their skin become whiter. So their melanin is kind of like gone away from them a little bit. And then also when they come out of the mother womb, there's two things it says. Has one that death whom the flesh have consumed when the he come out of his mother's womb. So let's look at some images. Let's look at some images. Um, newborn baby, newborn baby, newborn baby, and well, I'm not gonna look at dead people because I might get newborn baby. I might get you know, I'm not gonna show you dead people, but I'll show you, I'll show you newborn baby. Because I don't know if I don't want to get my life to get bent or anything like that. So the newborn baby, those images has been edited, of course. You know, those are nice images that they put in there. So they've been edited. You definitely can tell they've been edited, right? But when my daughter was born, you know, she's brown skin, of course. But when she was born, she literally looked like a white baby. She literally looked like a white baby. But as she grew, she began to have her melanins, right? And now she become darker and darker and darker. She began to be herself. But when so-called white people are born, they stay like that. They stay like that, right? So you see in pictures, and then this is what on Numbers chapter 12, verse 13, million became leprous white as snow. So now, no wonder why people, God gave them the spirit to align themselves with the white, because they say their skin is white, right? But they don't affiliate it with the red because they want to stay away from the red. Because if they affiliated themselves with the red, we'll know that they Esau. But they do affiliate themselves with the white. Million become leprous as white as snow. God literally give Million the leprous where her skin changes to kind of look like a white person. So that was a curse. And then because it was a curse, so Aaron went to Moses and said, let it not be as one dead. So I'm not going to show you that picture, but we know what dead people look like. Even if you're so-called black people, when you die, your skin become less dark, right? Or of whom the flesh is half consumed. So the flesh is half consumed, meaning that you don't have all your melons. Your flesh is half consumed when he come out of her mother's womb. Because when you come out of your mother's womb, you don't have all your melons in yet. So it's like halfway. So if you look at newborn baby, we can see that. So we can see that. So this is another sign to prove to you Esau is the so-called white people, modern people today. Esau, Edom is the so-called white people today. So this is proving to you that Esau, Edom is the so-called white people today. So we're trying to reveal who Esau is. Who is this man Esau? Who is this man Esau? And then so we know that Esau is going to be the older. Esau will be struggling with his brother. Esau is two separate nations from Isaac. Not only Esau is two separate nations from Isaac, Esau also have two different mannerism, right? And two manner of people will be separated from that Bible. They have two different mannerism, two different type of people. They're not the same people. Two different type of people. And then they say one will be stronger than the other, and the elder will serve the younger. So we know who's gonna serve the younger because it says Esau came out first, red all over like a hairy garment. So we know Esau is the older, and then we know Esau. The prophecy is Esau will serve Jacob, right? Esau is gonna serve Jacob, but right now the goal is to prove to you Esau is the so-called white people now today. The so-called white people now today, and then it says it was red all over like a hairy garment. The trait of red is, and then the trait of white has no is affiliated with so-called Esau, right? Because they call themselves white, right? One, they're like one that is dead. But when they're in the sun, or even sometime they're not even in the sun. When they're upset, or if you smack them, you know, their blood show forth through the skin. They become very, very red. So that's a trait that God gave them. They cannot run away from. And then they have a different type of mannerism. That's another trait that God gave them. They cannot run away from. They cannot run away from these different traits. This, I don't need this. I don't need this anymore. So Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same word pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So because Edom, not only that, Edom is gonna love blood. Edom is gonna love bloodshed. So that's another trait that God gave Esau to know who Esau is. No matter where Esau is, you're gonna know who Esau is if you read the Bible, pay attention to what you're reading, and analyze it properly, right? It says, Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same word pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So that's another side. This is when he sold his birthright to Jacob, right? So Esau is affiliated. Let's see. Do I have medium rare meat? When I go to a restaurant, when I hang out, when I was young, my professor in college invited me to her home with some other so-called white people, and she cooked. This is the kind of food they eat, just like it says with pottage, because it was uncooked. It was not cooked yet, but he loved that medium rare meat. He loved blood. He loved bloodshed. This is what they do, right? Whose nation out of all nations who love red meat? The same scripture said that Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with the same red pottage, for I am fed. So he loved red meat, red pottage. So when you go to the images, we know that Esau liked to eat red meat. When Esau is in the restaurant, when they ask Esau, how do you like your meat to be prepared? Probably 99% of the time, Esau will say medium rare because he like a little blood into it. He doesn't like it to be well cooked, right? He doesn't like it to be well cooked. But the commandment is we cannot eat anything with blood. That's against God. We cannot eat anything with blood. It has to be well cooked so the blood can evaporate it from the meat. So that's another side. Esau, not only Esau like bloodshed, and then this is why Esau has been the man causing more bloodshed than any other nation in the world. Esau has caused more bloodshed than any other nation in the world. Esau has killed more people than any other nation in the world. Esau is that man that love bloodshed. He like to eat things with blood. So Esau again, this is probably the seventh sign I give you who Esau is. Esau love red. So we're gonna continue. Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. So those are the signs of Esau. Those are the things that align with Esau, right? These are the things that align with Esau. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. Ooh, man, I forgot to change the title. And the boy grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwell in tents. Jacob is a plain man. We like to chill, brother. We like to chill, we are plain men. So that's another sign of Esau. Esau was a cunning hunter. Cunning hunter, meaning that he's very deceitful. So he doesn't hunt just normally. One, he love hunting, and then two, not only he love hunting deceitfully, right? So that's another sign of Esau. Esau love hunting. And then not only he love hunting, as I said, he's a cunning hunter. So when you type on Google hunt, and then this is why the buffaloes are gone. All the animals, almost most of the animals, in wiped out. He wiped out most of the animal in his own country. Then he go to other country and try to wipe him out, right? So he loved to hunt, and he's a cunning hunter. So when he's hunting, you can see that he wear clothes to align with the nature, so the animal don't see him. So the animal don't figure it out it's him. He loved to hunt. He loved to hunt people. He loved to hunt animals, right? This is his nature. Look at that. You type hunt, most of the picture that you see is them. It's picture of them hunting. So that's another sign of Esau. Esau is a cunning hunter. He never just go hunt like that. He has to wear, look at how he dressed to go hunt. So he dressed like that so he can hide and sneak on the animal. He hide and sneak on the animal, right? He looks like the environment where he is that he's hunting. So the animal is never aware that he's around until it's too late. So that's another sign of Esau that he's a cunning hunter. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field. So he's a man of the field. And Jacob was a playman. Jacob was just a playman, but Esau is the man of the field. So meaning that Esau, he's gonna be in the wood all the time. He love hiking. He loved mountain hiking. He loved skiing. He loved everything, right? So Esau, you can see that Esau is a cunning hunter based on based on the picture. Look at how he dressed. He's truly a cunning hunter. And then this is how Esau overcome a lot of country, a lot of people, a lot of race, because he's a cunning hunter. He was blessed with a sword. Esau is blessed with the sword. So again, this proving you that Esau is definitely the so-called white people today. Esau is the white people today. The people, the nation of white people, the Caucasian, Esau is them. The Caucasian, the so-called white people descended from the line of Esau. And then again, as I'm reading sign from the Bible, as God gave us, characters of the type of people Esau is, we see that it perfectly aligned with the Caucasian. It perfectly aligned with the so-called white people. So this is to uncover who Esau is, right? This is to uncover who Esau is. And I'm going to further prove it. I have this book. This book you should buy. This is, you see the name of the author that wrote the book, by Charles A. Wiseman, a so-called Jewish person, Wiseman, right? Ashkenazi, right? Whenever time you hear Wiseman, that's an Ashkenazi, right? But he tells you the truth in this book. So this is a book you should buy, right? Let me open this book up for you, and then I have picture of him to show you some inside this book, right? So this man goes into a lot of things, right? Into Esau, right? He said the legacy of Esau, life and history of Esau, the original of the Jews, world event problem, the scripture, blah blah blah. Edom, named Esau, hatred by God. He even knows that Esau is hatred by God. But when the Hebrew Israelites are on the street, and then Hebrew Israelites tell people that Esau is hated by God, they call them hateful group, right? But he is the so-called white people telling you that this book was written by a so-called white people, by a Jewish man, right? And he tell you that one of the chapter 21st, Esau hated by God. Esau hated by God. No Edomite civilian, bad figure in foot. So Esau is a bad person in foot. He's meaning that he's seed. This is a white people that wrote this book. And I'm just going to show you some of the titles. And now I took some images. I'll go to some of the images to show you that even the white people, that they know that they are Esau. This is a scholar. This is a scholar. You can type him on Google to find out who he is, but he's a scholar, right? Who wrote this book, right? This is a white person who wrote this book, who's telling you that his nation, Caucasian, are the descendant of Esau. And then he tells you that God hated Esau in this book, right? Esau versus Jacob. He even goes into Esau versus Jacob, the Jewish versus Christian, a conflict of Genesis trait. Esau hatred of Jacob, hatred by Edom, descendants of the children of Esau right now. The Caucasian is gonna hate the real Jacobs, right? This is why the so-called white people hate black, so-called black men, so-called Hispanic men, so-called Native Indian men, right? Because the hatred is gonna continue. Edom hate of Jesus Christ. This is why, again, he understand that the Caucasian, the so-called people who hate Christ. This is why when you tell them Revelation chapter 1, verse 14, Christ was the so-called black man, they don't want to hear that. Right? And this is also the reason why they gave you Caesar Borgia as Christ. And they make everybody worship Caesar Borgia as Christ. Right? Because he hates Jesus, the real Jesus that prophesied in the Bible. And then it goes into anti-Semitism, the dominion of Esau, that how Esau is gonna dominate the world. Because again, Esau is the end of the world, means that Esau will dominate the end of the world. But Jacob is the next that follow, right? Esau statute and dominion, economy control, government and political control. So it's going into how the Caucasian, the Esau, the Edomite, have dominion, the economy control, and government and political control. And then you can see that right now this is playing out right now with this current administration, how powerful the so-called Caucasian, the so-called Edomites are, right? How they have control and dominion over everything, over everyone, right? Edom, one world government. And then yes, one world government. They have, you see that, you look at the one world government they have already working on. The time of Jacob trouble. Our people don't know Jacob trouble is coming. And they don't even understand Jacob's trouble. Jacob trouble is gonna hit them in the face. They're not gonna be prepared for Jacob trouble. Jacob trouble is already in the process, in the making. Policies are being put in the place for Jacob's trouble. Jacob trouble is gonna hit when so-called white people truly gonna learn that the so-called black people that's been enslaved, the so-called Hispanic, the so-called Native Indian that have been killed and enslaved are the true Hebrew Israelite. They're gonna go after us, right? Especially those that have repented, keeping the commandments of God. Edom revenge. So Edom is revenging against Jacob. Esau war against Jacob. Everything is about Jacob. Everything that you see that's happening, every policy, everything, every country, everything is about Jacob. Edom motive to kill Israel. Edom, their motivation, their goal is to wipe out the true children of God. So the way you can do it is to do it. You can do it plain where people see and know exactly what you're doing. That's why he's a cunning hunter. He hides everything. He hides who he is. He hides his intention, right? He hides his intention. He hides his hate for us, right? So in order for him to destroy us, and the same thing he did to the Indian. When he came to the Indian, he came with the ill intention. He came as a sheep, but in a, he came as a sheep, but was a wolf, right? He came and then he signed over 300 treaty with them. He broke all of them, right? So if you continue to read, Edom treasure against Israel, abortion, ritual murder, abortion, also was created to destroy the children of God, the Israelites. Interracial marriage, conclusion and comment, exit. That's why I love exit of Esau. I'll show you the exit of Esau. Jacob has got to vengeance, Edom in Babylon, Jacob deliverance. So this men who wrote this Bible have some understanding. These Caucasian have understand. They know who we are. They know who they are. So we continue to show you that the trait of Esau. Who is Esau? Esau is the Caucasian people. Esau, you see that during the war between Palestine and Israel and so-called Israel, they tell you that Amalek is the Palestine. That's a false, totally false, totally false. Amalek is actually fighting the Palestine. Amalek is actually the one killing the Palestine. But he removed the name of himself and then he called them the Amalek so he can have a reason to use the Bible and say he's killing the Amalekite because it was prophesied they're gonna kill the Amalekites. Esau is like when I say he's a cunning hunter, as the Bible say, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a playman. So Esau is a real cunning hunter. Esau is a deceitful man. When he's hunting, he's not hunting plain. He's deceiving you in everything that he does. Everything that he does, he's deceiving you. So now let's look at some pictures. Let's look at some images. I need to switch. I need to switch. Okay. This is a lot of these images I'm gonna show you is gonna be from this book. Also, another book I recommend you to read, Women Emperors, so you understand that the so-called white people are truly Caucasian people are truly Esau, the Edomites, right? There's a lot of books, right? There's a lot of book, the catacombs, right? So there's a lot of book you can read to prove that Esau is these people. So let's look at somewhat some of the thing I just showed you. Um, where do I want to start? Let's see. I'll start with Alexander. Alexander the Great. So I'll start with Alexander. That's from the different book. This one is from the dictionary. Alexander, son of Philip. king of Macedonian Olympian princes born BC, probably 356 BC before Christ, although not named in the Bible. He's named in the Bible, in the Maccabees. He described prophetically in Daniel, so he was prophesied in Daniel, right? He was prophesied in Daniel. But let's go and see. Okay, right here, Alexander. So Alexander the Great, well, is in the Bible, in the Maccabees, first Maccabees, right? So here's where Alexander is mentioned in the Bible, right? Everybody knew that Alexander was a Greek. And then Alexander is a white people. White people embrace Alexander. That's why they call it Alexander the Great. So white people embrace Alexander, right? Because they in history he was known to be the one that bring the white people in power, right? So they love Alexander, but they don't know how the Bible says that. I'll read it. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetim, had smitten Durian, king of the Persian and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So he was the first king over the Greek, the Greeks, right? The Grecian. So he was the first king and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew king of the earth. The part I want to read before him was up on the okay right here. I think it's right here. Many nations in Solomon was quiet before him, whereupon he was no, that's not the one. There's something evil multiply or evil multiply when he become king. And after this fell sick, blah blah blah. Wherefore so Jumbo, blah blah blah. And Alexander 12 years. And after this, well, but yeah, right here. So and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their son, the son of Alexander, after them many years, and evil will multiply in the earth. So when the son of Alexander took power, evil multiply in the earth. So these white people, when they took power, evil multiply in the earth. So let's see what Wikipedia says. We know that to prove to you that the Greeks, the Grecian, Alexander, they were Edomites, and then they are, and the so-called Caucasian now who spread out to the world is descendant from the Grecian, right? The Grecian, the Edomites. So again, just to show you sign and connected with history that yes, the white so-called white people, the so-called Caucasian people are Edomite. So if you can see that, I'm reading the people appear under the Greek from their old name as Idumean or Idumean, and their new territory was called Idumea or Idumea. So the Edomite, Idumean, the Edomite, right? Greek, Latin, Idumea, a term that was used in the Hellenistic and Roman period, also mentioned in the New Testament during the 2nd century BC. The Edomite converted to Judaism and became part of the Jewish population. So even here, the Edomites, Edomites, they converted to Judaism and become part of the Jewish population. Herod the Great was Edomite origin. So I'm telling you, these white people know who they are. They know. So when who is Edom? Who is Esau? The Edomite is the Caucasian. The so-called white people are Edom. The so-called white people are Edom. The so-called white people are Edom. Did I switch? Oh, I didn't switch, and I'm reading and I'm throwing it. I didn't switch for YouTube. Um, yeah. So let me reread it again for YouTube. The pe- so the Greeks, right? The people appear Greek from their old name Idumea or Idumea, and their new territory was called Idumea. So we know that the Greeks now were Idumea. They were Edomites. They were Edomite. The Edomites, the so-called Jewish people today, Jewish population, they converted to Judaism, right? They converted. So they were never Jews, they just converted. Herod the Great was an Edomite origin. So Herod the Great was an Edomite origin. right? So YouTube, this is what I was talking about. Now you see it. So it's not something I was just saying. So now let's go to the books, to some of the pages of the book that I had uploaded, right? So now now we understand that Alexander the Great was a Greek, right? Was a Grecian, and then also the Grecian. We see that Grecians are Edomites. So Grecians or the Edomite, and we know the descendant of Grecians are the woman, and the women's now become all these different Caucasian, right? Whether they're in England, they're in France, they're in Russia, then Israelite now calling themselves Jewish, or here in the United States, calling themselves American. We know that they are Caucasian. We know that they are the so-called white people. We know that they are the Edomites. We know the Edomites. So again, trait. I'm showing you trait. I'm showing you history. So from this book, I showed you this book, who is Esau Edom, by Charles Wiseman. So that's as in Ashkenaz. When you read with names wise men like that, that's an Ashkenaz. So this book is written by a so-called Jewish person, by a so-called Ashkenaz person, right? A Jewish person, Ashkenaz, wise men. So who is Esau Edom? So that's what this book goes into, to show you who the white people who are the descendant who are there, right? So we're gonna go to some of the pages in this book, but and it's not that organized. So one of the pages of the book, it says APAC. Everybody know who APAC is, right? I mean, you should know who APAC is the thus a lobby for a foreign government. APAC is owned by the Jewish nation, right? The Jewish pact can get pro-Israel politician elected and pro-American and Christian politician defeated, manipulate foreign policy, control immigration, draft legislation, pressure Congress has too hard to vote. Thus, Congress is in the actual Judaic legislative body. So this book is written by a Jewish person, and this Jewish person telling you the influence of AIPAC, the influence of the Jewish people into the government of the United States, how they make decisions. So this is Esau telling you that. So Edom one world government, which I showed you in the book, in the title of the book right here. You see, where was it? Edom one world government. So blessing economy, yeah, one world government right here on 85, page 85, one world government, right? In the book. So Jacob has an inheritor of the birthright. So had the right to have dominion on the earth. Not had. Jacob had the right to have dominion of the world. Jacob will have dominion of the earth. In the earth, the earth belongs to us. The earth was made for us. So everybody that was created, God created the 18 nation. We one out of the Indian nation. The other 17 nation is created to serve us, right? We created, he Israelites created to serve God. We serve Christ, we serve God, right? We created to serve God. But all the other nation is created to serve us. So when in this book, who is Esau, Edom, written by a white person, tell you that, yes, I agree with him when he says that Jacob has inheritor of birthright, has the right to have dominion in the earth. We do have the right to have dominion, not had. We have the right to have dominion in the earth. Even right now, we've been punished because of our wickedness, because we broke the law of God. We broke the covenant that we signed by blood, right? So we broke the covenant, so God is punishing it, but there's prophecies on top of prophecy. Christ will come back to redeem us, and we will have dominion in the earth again. And was promised that descendant will spread throughout the earth, and our descendant has spread throughout the earth. We everywhere because through slavery, white people scattered us everywhere. White people scattered us everywhere through slavery because which was prophesied in the Bible. This is gonna happen, right? So through slavery, we were scattered everywhere. So that has been prophesied. And then he gave you scripture. So this man is not just talking, this man is relying what he's saying with scripture. Genesis 28:14, becoming a multitude of nations, Genesis 48 verse 4. You can write this down and go read it. Edom planned to overcome this by creating a world government under his control. So that's what Edom has been doing. He created a. That's why he has army everywhere. His army is everywhere. He's the only one that does that. China don't have their armies everywhere. Ethiopia don't have their army everywhere. Um, the Arab don't have their army everywhere. But Esau have his armies everywhere. Esau has influence everywhere. So Esau, this is a white man. This book is written by a white man, and he's telling you that what Esau is doing. Once all nation become democracy, so he want all nation to become democracy. That's not gonna happen because prophecy have been fulfilled. We are in the end right now. We fulfilling some. So that's not gonna happen. Socialist states, communist regime. It is an easy step to get them to come under one world control. To attain this world government, some means must do procured through which it can be the administered and enforced. So they doing things so they can administer whatever the policy and enforce everything they have to do. So we know that that one world government they created, they're trying to do with the influence, and then they tell you that APAC. So first thing it started with APAC. So we know who behind that one world government. We know that, and they tell you who they are. It tells you those are the Jewish people that using APAC, and then so they can control. So we know that they are the head. So has the Bible, Revelation chapter uh, 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 2 9 and 3 9. Yeah, 2 9 and 2 9 tell you that they are the synagogue of Satan, which means the chief priests of Satan. These people are the chief priests of Satan. So we know that they are the chief of all the things that's happening in the world. They are the main decision makers, meaning that they make the most influence, the most power. They are the one influencing this. Just like again, this is not me saying that. This is from this book by a Jewish person telling you that. And then he's giving you scripture and then also to prove his point, right? So this is a Jewish person telling you that his own people control everything. He tell you that his own people do the enforce the policies. His own people control immigration. His own people draft legislation. His own people put pressure on Congress and how to vote. So this is a Jewish person telling you that his own people does that. His people, Edomite, doing that. So let's go to another page of that book, right? Let's go to another page. This is Edom world government, and I don't want to go through all the to the government. This book, let me see if I can flip this. Uh, Okay. So again, this is another part of the book. No, this is from the dictionary. Dictionary. Is it this one from the dictionary? Jewish leader, blah blah blah, early president and of a Congress. Ever since, man, this is the Jewish people have had influence ever over every president. So the Jewish people they had power and influence over every president and many congressmen ever since Woodrow Wilson. Some of whom have direct taken orders from Jewish and outside of government. I don't say Jews because we know who the Jews are. Some of these Jewish include Paul Weinberg. Henry, he gives you names. He gave you a lot of names. Who are these people? The people that control APACs and so forth. So this is a Jewish person telling you that his own people control all these things. His own people doing all these things. His own people, as the Bible tell you, Revelation chapter 2 9 3 9, and then it is so also a so-called white person is telling you the same thing. So that's the same page right here. The legacy of Esau Edom. The legacy of Esau Edom. Again, that's founded in that same book, The Legacy of Esau Edom. That's on the top of the page. Esau was firstborn of Isaac, has the Bible on Genesis chapter 25, starting on 21 all the way down, and thus was heir to the birthright, the wife from the direct ratio. lineage of Adam to Noah to Abraham. Yes, Esau is actually he, he's actually a Hebrew. He's a Hebrew person, right? Because the name Hebrew come from the name Abram, right? Because Abraham come out of the lineage of Abram, right? And Abram came out of the lineage of Noah and then and Shem. So from Noah to Shem to Abram to Abraham, so and then to Isaac. So Esau, the so-called people, are Hebrew people. White people are Hebrew people, but they're not Israelites and they're not Jews, but they are Hebrew people because they descend from Abraham. So the birthright, because Esau was the firstborn son, so birthright did belong to Esau, but Esau sold his birthright, and then also it was already prophesied God is gonna give the blessing to Jacob, right? Thus Esau was racially and Edomite and Semite. So he was an Semite, right? He was an Adamite, and then he was a Semite and a Hebrew. So yes, that I agree with Charles Wiseman. Esau is an Adamite, meaning that he's descending from Adam. Esau is a Semite, which means he's descending from Shem, and he's a Hebrew, which means he descends from Abram, right? He's descend from Abram, right? The racial stack of the white race. So, woo! Whoa! Uh, Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So, Esau, as I've told you already, the red man, he is the racial stack of the white race. So, every white person you know of, you ever met, every Caucasian, their line is descended from Esau to Isaac to Abraham to Eber to Noah to Adam to Adam. So Esau, the thus Esau was racially an Adamite, meaning that descending from Adam. He's a Semite, meaning that he's descending from Shem. Hebrew, meaning that he's descending from Eber, the racial stack of the white race. So this book written by a Jewish scholar called Who is Edom knows exactly that the white race are Esau or Edomites. Edomites, the red people. So I'm gonna continue to give you proof, as the Bible says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, uncover the nakedness of Esau, make him bare, right? This is the biggest lie Esau had ever perpetrated in the world, is to hide himself who he is. But now, if you understand who Esau is, you're gonna understand why Esau is doing everything he's doing. And then, because remember, one of the thing I read to you that the only people that God don't promise any forgiveness to is Esau, and the only ways that God promised to wipe out is Esau. So if Esau knows that there's no promise of forgiveness for him, and God is gonna utterly wipe him out according to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. Everything he's been doing makes sense. Everything he's been doing makes sense. World dominance has on the last pages I just showed you. World dominance, control of everything, seek to destroy Jacob, religion, politics, everything he's doing makes sense. But for me, it doesn't make sense because Esau, if you know you're gonna be destroyed by God, why not just enjoy your time? Enjoy the world. Instead, you spend every dime, every energy you have to go after Jacob, to destroy Jacob. Everything you do in Esau is to destroy Jacob. So we know that by a so-called white man, a Jewish person, tells you that Esau is the white people. Thus, he said, thus Esau was racially an Adamite. He's from Adam. A Semite, he's from Shem. A Hebrew from Aber, the racial stock of the white race. So we know now, for as I showed you the trait of Esau. Esau red all over like a herring garment. I showed you a picture. Esau love red pottage. He love red meat. I show you picture. They love medium rare meat. They love blood. Right? Esau is a cunning hunter. I show you picture. You type hunt. All the picture that come up is them. Esau is a cunning hunter, meaning that he's a deceitful person. He hunts people and animal and destroy people and animal through deceitful. That's why he almost wiped out the native Indian. Everywhere he are, the native people he wiped them out, almost wiped them out, or wiped them out. Through deceitful, he doesn't need to fight you. If you resist, he'll kill you and wipe you out. He gave the native Indian blanket with poison. He brought his sickness in all kind of deceitful ways. He hunt with deceitfulness. So now he's revealing who Esau is, who is revealing who the Edomites are. Now you're seeing that this person, he said, just Esau despised his birthright, Genesis 25:34. Look, he gave you scriptures. Esau married daughter of Canaan, the Canaanite. He shows you, he gives you scriptures. He's giving you scriptures, like scripture upon scriptures. So this man study the Bible and understanding the Bible, he tell you that his own people are the Edomite, the stock. He says that Esau is the stock of the white race, the white nation. The white people are the stock of Esau. He shows you that. So now I'm proving to you with history, with prophecy, that the so-called white men are the descendant of Esau. They are the descendant of Esau. When you hear people, a lot of white people know they are Esau. They know that. They agree with that. They know that. A lot of white people, but a lot of white people, even though they know that, they run away from it. And in the religion, these pastors, they don't know or they're not teaching them. They tell you Esau was the native Indian. They tell you Esau was the native Indian, but it says Esau is the end of the world. Has the native Indian has power and influence in the of the end of the world? Native Indian, they don't have no power at all. So that's wrong. Let's continue to read. The Edomites were driven from Petra westward by the Nabateans in 312 BC, 312 BC, and before the middle of the second century BC. They were occupying not only southern Judah, but also Hebron and the country to its north as far as the. So he's giving you some history of the Edomite. I don't have to go to all that history of the Edomites. Thus John's Edomite were then empowered Jewish nation. So Junction Edomite were then incorporated with the Jewish nation, and their country was called by the Greek and the Roman. Like I showed you before, the Greek and the Romans are Idumean. They're so-called white people. So, but the tide turned in favor to the Edomite favor, and the Julius Caesar made Antipater an Edomite procurator of Judea in 47 BC when Antipater was killed. 4 years later, and his son Herod gained power but was rejected by Judahites. Herod shrewdly gained the support of Rome. With the Roman army at the heels of return of Palestine, it's just giving you more history of the Edomite. Um, so many references in historical sources have unequivocally identifying that the book of the Ashkenazi Jews, the Ashkenaz, were derived from the people known as Khazar. This is a Jewish portion telling you that. Khazar in some text. The original Jewish encyclopedia, they tell you the original encyclopedia of the Jewish people of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from Asiatic people known as Khazar or Khazar. Khazars are people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginning of the history of the Jew of Russia. Historical evidence point to the region of the Ural of Ural has the home of Khazar. So the Khazarian, the Jewish people, the modern Jewish people, most of them are Russian. They're Russian, they're Irish, they're Turkish. So they're not the actual descendant of Jacob. They're not. And then it tells you on top, the blah blah Jewish, 5% of the Jewish in the world, the Ashkenazi, are the East European Jews, which were found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and West Asia. So they're not the real Jews. That's it says that the so-called Jews in the world. That's why I say the so-called. So this is a Ashkenazi Jew because you can see his last name, wise men. Whenever time that's an Ashkenazi person. So this is an Ashkenazi person, a Jewish person telling you a lot of history. He tell you that the stack of white race is from Esau, Edom. So he tell you that white people, Caucasian people, is from Edom, the Edomite from Esau. He tells you that, right? So the Khazar were nomadic people who had no trace Hebraic culture. They didn't have no trace of any Hebrew culture, right? They had been followed a pagan, so they used to be pagan, right? Pagan, and that's why they're so good at paganism, right? And then that's why they enforced it in the religion, so Jacob can follow that. They embraced Judaism in 740 AD, right? After Christ's death, 740 AD, while rejecting Christianity. The Jewish authority in historian, blah, 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 also concluded that the majority of the East European Jews, so-called Jews, hence of the world Jewry, is of Khazar. So they're of Khazar. They're from the Khazarian Empire. So they're not of the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are of the stock of Adam, Noah, well, I forgot Shem, Abraham. They are the stock of Abraham. They are the stock of Isaac, but they're not the stock of Jacob. And not from the stock of Jacob at all. That's why you don't ever hear them call themselves Israelites. You never hear themselves call themselves Israelites. God forbid. God forbid. Let's continue to read. The best historical evidence therefore showed that the so-called Jews are not descended directly from Israelites. Again, I just said that. This is why they never call themselves Israelites. Because they know that they're not Israelites. They know that. Of the Bible. So they know that. They know that they're not directly descended from Israelite of the Bible, but derive much of the ancestors from Khazar and of the people of Turkish Asiatic blood. The Khazarian are also of Edomite stock. So when the Hebrew Israelites are on the street teaching, you call them hate group just because they bring in truth out. And then this is a Jewish person that bring you truth, that gave you truth, you know. From this book called Who is Esau by Charles A. Wiseman. You gotta buy this book and read it. Buy this book and read it. There's tons of other book too, but this book goes into history, a lot of history. So these people, they know that they're not Israelites, descending from Israelites. That's why they don't call themselves Israelites. They don't embrace Israelites. You see that we so-called black people now embracing Israelites because when we do our history, we see that uh, 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 our forefathers descending from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not the so-called white people. And then you can see that it tells you that the Edomite, which is Edom, Esau, the Jewish people are from that. That's what the book is telling you. The Jewish people are descending from Esau, Edom. The so-called white people are descending from Esau, Edom. They're the same people. That's why you see America and you see all the Edomite support Israel so well because they know that's their blood. And then they to keep the lie and to keep Jacob where Jacob is, they have to they have to perpetrate a falsehood who the Jews are, right? So, and then this is why you see everything is going on over there. It's going on because God said He's gonna have war with Amalek forever. So you can see that Amalek have not have rest with war that he happened. Even if Amalek take over Palestine, Amalek is gonna continue to have war after Palestine because the prophecy says that Ishmael gonna wake up. He's gonna know who he is. He's gonna return to his old self. So once Israel take over Palestine, fully take over Palestine, the stack of Ishmael, the stack of them, the 12 princes of Ishmael, they're gonna come together against them, and they're gonna wipe them, totally wipe them out, because that's what the prophecy says, right? So Ishmael gonna remember who he is. Ishmael is gonna go after them. So don't worry. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. The prophecy is Ishmael is gonna go after Amalek. The Amalek right now that's occupying the land is wiping out the Palestine right now. And then right now they feel they're so prideful, right? They're so prideful, very, very prideful. They don't think anything gonna happen to them, right? So they're trying to take the land, but once they successfully they take the land, or once whatever, because that also prophesied too about Palestine, that God was gonna destroy them, because also the same thing that the Jewish people did is the same thing that the Palestinians did. They went and took hold of the Holy Land and defiled the Holy Land. So the same thing the Jewish people took part of the Holy Land and defiled the Holy Land. The same way they are being used by God to destroy the Palestinian who went and took the Holy Land to themselves, possessed it to themselves. The same way, once he destroyed the Palestine and took over the land, then the Ishmaelites is gonna remember who they are, and they're gonna go and revenge for their brother. Because Palestine is one of the sons of Ishmael. The modern Palestine, they're not actual, but the modern Palestine is the son, is one of the brothers. So is one of the son of Ishmael, right? So they're gonna remember and they're gonna revenge for the brother. And this is why you see that Iran, they want to make sure that Iran don't have nuclear power, and they do everything they can to destroy that idea, because they also understand the prophecy, and they want to make sure the prophecy. But don't worry about that. They're not gonna need the prophecy. Was not say that uh, 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 um, they're gonna be destroyed by nuclear bomb. The prophet, because God, the land, we need the land. We have to go back to the land. So there won't be no nuclear bomb dropping on that land, right? Because it is the Holy Land, right? So we know where the prophecy is, where the nuclear bomb is gonna drop. But these people gonna go to war with these people, and they're gonna win, and they're gonna destroy them, because that's what the prophecy says. But again, it's just to continue to prove to you that those remain had internal Babylon, the Edomites, and so Babylonian and the Edomite, blah blah blah. It's going to histories. Some of the history, the characteristic of Esau. I went through some of the characteristic of Esau already to show you, but not only from the Bible. I'm gonna go from this book. This book is by a Jewish person, by Charles A. Wiseman, a Ashkenazi person. The title of the book is "Who is Esau Edom?" Right. So we know that the characteristic of Esau, Edom, and then he told you already in the book, the stack of the white people are of Esau. He already told you that. He told you that the so-called Caucasian people, the so-called white people, are Edomites. He tell you also to the so-called Jewish people nowadays are Edomites. The so-called Jewish people are Edomites. So now he's gonna tell you some of the characteristic of the Edomites. As with any scripture, the Bible reveals certain trait attributed and characteristic of the various actor of the characters in talk it's talk about. So like Jacob, it tell you characters of Jacob, like Ishmaelite, which I just mentioned. I know the character of Ishmael, right? The Bible to his character, he's a wild man. And then if you look at Ishmael, the so-called Arab people, the 12 princes, the nations of Arab, they're wild. They're wild people. People that will tie bomb to themselves and blow themselves. They like riding horses. They like in the desert, doing race in the desert. They're wild. So we know the character of Ishmael, the Arab people, that they're wild, right? So it's the same thing. We know the character of Jacob. Jacob is a peaceful person, right? There's the Bible tell you on Genesis chapter 25, and then that's who we are. But the characteristic of Esau, we can thus find in the Bible some attribute and characteristics of Esau. which will help identify who this actor was in the history and perhaps in the world today. There is much evidence showing that the seed of Esau may safely be identified with the modern Jewish. So with the modern Jewish people. And it also tell you the stock of the white people. So characteristic of the first, the first revealed attribute associated with Esau, Edom, is in the scripture is that of color associated with his name. Esau, Edom is symbolic associated with the color red. So that's why we read, right? When it says the children will struggle together, right, in the womb. And then Isaac, besought God. And then it says, two nations is in your womb. Two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, right? The first shall serve the younger. And then they tell you first came out red all over like a hairy garment. So that's what it's telling you, right? Color red. Esau was actually born with the attribute as the described in the months in the account of the birth. And the first Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they call his name Esau. And then I show you images. Let me go to some images, and I'll come back to that. So first, let me change. Uh, let me change. Characteristic of Esau. Esau is red all over like a hairy garment. If he's in the sun, his skin change to red. If he's upset and angry, his skin change red because his blood shows through his skin because his lack of melanin. Because the lack of melanin, you can see his blood through his skin, right? If you smack him, his face is gonna turn red. And then not only that, he loved red meat. Where did I have that? Okay. He loved red meat. He loved blood. He loved killing. He loved bloodshed. The red pottage, you remember that that's another sign of Esau, the red pottage. So when Esau in a restaurant ordering food, Esau want medium rare. He wanted bloody. He wanted bloody. So as the author say, Charles A. Wiseman, in the book of Who is Esau, Edom, he's telling you some of the trait of Esau is that it's affiliated with red. He loved red meat, red pottage. His skin is red for lack of pigmentation, right? Look at that. He's a red man. He's a red man. You cannot deny that he's a red man. You cannot deny that that's not Esau because all the traits show that this is Esau. So let's change back to the book. Let's change back to the book. He says that, so in the book, it tells you that color red affiliated with Esau. Color red affiliated with Esau. Here we find that Esau had the physical attribute of being red and hairy. So Esau is red and hairy. If you took the gillette or the razor from Esau, any Esau that you see that don't shave, you're gonna see that they're very hairy, very very hairy. So we know that some of the trait of Esau that he's red and hairy, which is contrast with Jacob's appearance, who was a plain man. So it was opposite to Jacob. So it's two different type of people. One is the brown person with regular hair, regular body. The other one is red and hairy, long hair, right? Dark type of hair. And Genesis 25:27, the red color of Esau was to be a sign that he would later sell his birthright to Jacob for some red pottage, which I had already explained. He sold his birthright for some red pottage. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray you, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Wasted away. So he wasted away. He wasted his birthright. And also his skin is wasted. He sold his birthright. So these are some of the characteristics of Esau, right? Red is representative of blood. scattered of word horse, word book, Revelation, the Antichrist. He is the Antichrist. Satanic system which will Rome. He has the satanic system which still ruling today. Revelation 6:4, Genesis 20. Man, this is not me, man. This is by his own people. The anti-Christian satanic system, the great beast of mystery, Babylon, which was spread abomination and death to the whole earth. Dang. This author is connecting all the dots. This author is telling you that Esau is not only he's the Antichrist. Esau is the red horse. Esau sin is affiliated with red. He loved bloodshed. He tell you Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white people, are the great beast or mystery of Babylon. He says the banking industry, which is part of red Babylon economy control over everything. The Jewish banking family, the Rothschild, which means red shield. The red flag symbolic revolution socialism. And the Jewish Kabbalah, signifying bloodshed and also justified for the so-called Jewish. The Jewish author and historian Arthur Koshi shows that the Jewish causes from which many Jews are derived were commonly known as the red Jews. They were commonly known as that. So is this author from the Jewish people who's telling you that the stock of the white race, the Caucasian people, all the white people, from Europe to the one that's called themselves Jewish in Israel right now, or wherever they are, he tell you that these people they love bloodshed. He tell you these people are antichrist. He tell you these people are the great beast, mystery great beast. He tell you this. He's telling you. He's revealing who Esau is. Esau is the so-called white people. So now when you understand is the so-called white people, now you understand why white people are doing everything they're doing. Why white people was the one every war they start every war, even two other two different nations are fighting, they behind that. Through their influence. They have their army everywhere. They have their political influence everywhere. If in a country, your own country, your own power, your own government, if you don't get the approval of the so-called white people to do it, they'll kill you or you get a coup. All of a sudden, a coup. Look at what's happening to Abraham Poet. Look at what happened. Who's trying to get away from their influence and power. Look at what's happening to them. How many coup been attempted already? Over 9 coup has already been attempted. He is. He cannot hide who he is. He's all hated by God. Before I go, Esau is hated by God. This is again, it's not from me. It's just from this book. It's not from me. It's from this book. Before we go to this, let me show you again some trait of Esau. So we're trying to keep aligning who Esau is. Trying to keep aligning who Esau is. So before I go to that, let's rewind a little bit. The trait of Esau. In the beginning, Genesis chapter 25. Rebecca was pregnant. The children was, struggling to get in the womb. Inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, two nations is in your womb. That's two nations, two manner of people will be separated from two different people, two different types. And the one people will be stronger than the other. One is stronger than the other. And then we know that we so-called black people are stronger. We Jacob, they are Esau. You can see that we are stronger. It's just that they have their weapon because they were blessed with their weapon. That was the blessing that Isaac gave Esau. And dominion of the land that had all the fatness and richness. And that's why he has dominion every land that had fatness and riches. That was his blessing. But you can definitely see who's stronger. Esau won't come to Jacob without 10, 20 people. That's why when you see Esau, Cap is called, or Cap come to Jacob, he comes with 20, 30 caps sometimes, even 50 cap or 100 caps sometimes shows up. He will never do one-on-one with you. Jacob, you look at sport, Jacob and basketball, football, it doesn't matter what sport. You look at boxing, anything that has to do with strength and ability, Jacob dominate. So we know who the stronger is. We know who the stronger one is. And it says that the first came out, went all over. Well, let's read this. And when her debut delivered, behold, there were twin in the womb, further looking. And first came out, went all over her. So that's the first trait of Esau, which we have went over. So he's wed. He's a wed man and he's hairy. Esau is wed and hairy, right? Esau is wed and hairy. So that's the first trait. Esau is wed and hairy. Esau, that's the first trait. The second trait is Esau love wet pottage. He sold his birthright for wet pottage. Esau love red meat. My computer is acting that is not switching. It's slowing down. Like I said, every Sabbath it happens. Other day it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how many pages I have. But anyway, computer's acting up. Let me let it load a little bit. But anyway, um, the first trait of Esau, he's red and hairy. The second trait of Esau, he loved red pottage. He loved red meat. He eat things with blood. That's why he eat medium rare meat. He's a cunning hunter. We know who's a cunning hunter. I have it up here. What's the computer? I'll show you. If you type hunt on Google search, you'll see who come up. He love hunting. That's why he killed almost all the animals and wiped almost all the animals out. He loved to hunt. That's his trait. He's a man of the field. That's what the Bible told Esau is a man of the field. So that's another third trait of Esau. So now we're gonna find out here once the computer, stop doing whatever it's doing. Okay, right here. So show you some trait of Esau. He's red all over like a hairy garment. If you take the razor from Esau, he's a very, very hairy man. And he knows that. That's why in his movie he shows you that how his life started. Very heavy in the cave, right? If you smack Esau, he become very red. If he's angry, he's become very red. He's that red man. Um, he love red meat. He love hunting. He's a man of the field. So that's a trait. So now let's go to another trait of Esau. Where did I have that? No. Right here. This is one of the signs. Like, I mean, you cannot confirm this. You cannot deny that. You cannot disprove that. Just like this man tells you that Esau is the stock of the white people, and then we read that the Grecians are Edomites, and we know the Grecians were the woman. We know the woman is the stock of all white people nowadays, right? They are the descendant of the Greek. They are the descendant of the Romans, right? They are the children of the Greeks and the Romans. We know the white people are, and then we know that already. So Genesis chapter 36:29. These are the dukes that came of Herod. Horite, Duke Lotan, Duke Shoba, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anna. First Chronicle, verse 51. He had died also, and the Duke of Edom were Duke Timar, Duke Eliad, Duke. So we know that Edom, Esau the Edomite. Genesis 36:15. These were the dukes of the son of Esau, the son of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Emar, Duke Omar, Duke Sephor, Duke Sonah. Now, my next question to you: who is known to have dukes in their race? I never see in the history of Ishmaelite, the Arab people, affiliated themselves with dukes. I never see the Asian people, the Asian people, whether it's Japanese, whether it's Chinese, Vietnamese, South North Korean, where they affiliated themselves with dukes. I never see Ethiopian affiliate themselves with dukes. I never see Egyptian affiliated themselves with dukes. I never see Edom, East Indian, which is East Indian, affiliating themselves with dukes. Now they say, yo, these are the sons of Esau. Duke Tenan, Duke Oma, Duke Zepho, Duke Zena, Kana. Who is knowing, what ways that is known to have dukes in their ways, who embrace dukes. To prove to you that the so-called white people, the Caucasians, are the children of Edom, Esau. Without a shadow of a doubt. They are the children of Esau. Now let's go. The history of the dukes. The noble title of duke is one of the highest rank in the aristocracy hierarchy, and while it is important, it is just below the title of prince. History showing that some duke title were in fact attributed to the prince of royal family in France and Italy. Isn't the Italians or the Romans? Even Italy is actually where Rome used to be, the mother of Rome, the center of Rome. So now, when the Bible, you read the princes of dukes, the dukes, Esau's sons. Look, there were dukes of sons of Esau, son of Esau, the son of Eliaphah, the firstborn son of Esau, dukes Tamar, dukes Omar, dukes Zophar, dukes Anah. Now you go to history. History tells you that if Italy, France embraced dukes, it was something that was the highest ranks. Princes. That's the highest rank you can gain in the Caucasian race. And the white people nationality is the highest rank they can gain. So now you tell me that the so-called white people are not the stock of Edom, Esau? Now can you see how true when the Hebrew Israelites are on the street teaching that white people are Esau, the children of Esau? You can see how true that is. When you link history, even their own people tells you, even their own people tell you that they are descendant of Edomite. So you read these books, they tell you that white people. This book tell you that white people descend from Adam. Yes, they are Adamites. They descend from Noah. Yeah, they from Noah. They descend from Shem, so they are Shemites. They descend from Abraham, so they are Hebrew people. They are Hebrew people, and they descend from Abraham, and they also descend from Isaac, but they're not descend from Jacob. So they are Hebrew people. They are Shemite people. They're Shemites. So white people cannot be anti-Semitic. So white people that live in America cannot be anti-Semitic because white people are Shemites. Or white people that live in Europe or Germany cannot be anti-Semitic because he is Shemite. A Turkish person cannot be anti-Semitic because he's Shemite. It's just like Jacob, the so-called black man. The so-called Hispanic man cannot be anti-Semitic because he's Shemite. How can you be anti yourself? You cannot be anti yourself. So so-called let me see. Japanese, Chinese cannot be anti-Semitic because they're Shemite. East Indian are also Shemite. They cannot be anti-Semitic because the Elam are Shemite. They descended from Shem, so they cannot be anti-Semitic because they're Shemite. So there are a lot of stock. Ishmael, the Arab people cannot be anti-Semitic because they're Shemite. Ishmael is the son of Abraham. So he's a true Shemite. Not only is he the Shemite, he's also a Hebrew too. Because he's the descendant of Abraham. So these people cannot be anti-Semitic because they are Shemite themselves. So it's because people don't read. People don't read. They just accepted whatever the world threw at them. Palestinian cannot be anti-Semitic because they are Shemite. They, they are the descendant of Ishmael. But right now, what I'm proving is that Esau, Edom are the so-called white people. So we know the Bible talk about dukes, and we hear dukes in history. We hear dukes in TVs and movies. We learn about dukes in our history class, right? We learn about dukes as these people that's been like in high, like I said, high hierarchy, right? So and the Bible talks about dukes. The only place in the Bible mentioned dukes is affiliated with Edom. Duk was not affiliated with Jacob. Duk was not affiliated with Ishmael. Duk was not affiliated with Moabite, Ammonite. Duk was not affiliated with Elam. Duk was not affiliated with Israel. Was not affiliated with Cush. Duk was not affiliated with any other nation but Edomites. So now when you go to the history of the Duks, he said the double title Duk is one of the highest rank. So it's the highest rank a white person can receive. It is in the history. It is a hierarchy. While important just below the title of prince, it's just below the title of prince. Historical show that some dukes' title were in fact attributed to princes of royal family and friends in Italy. Friends in Italy. Isn't Italy is the motherlode of Rome, the center of Rome? So we two white Caucasian race right here. It says, in fact, when it came to the tradition markers of power and influence, such rolling wealth, vast palaces, and social authority, many of historic Duke could claim vastly more rich and resources than some of the highest wealth princes of Europe. So the dukes, the people that call themselves dukes, they were the highest rank of their own people. So you sit down without a shadow of doubt. If you connect the dot with the Bible and history and people, you see that you cannot deny it, you cannot debunk it. White people is the so-called Edomites. There's no Christian scholar that can come and tell you that the dukes in the Bible, we mentioned dukes in the Bible where dukes was mentioned for everybody else. Dukes only mentioned for always in the Bible, dukes always affiliated with Edom. Herod died also in dukes of Edom were Duke Tamar, Duke Eliad, Duke Jetta, and in itself, these were the dukes of the son of Esau. The dukes of Esau. And then when you go to the history of the dukes, you see the dukes affiliated with white people, white race. Do I have more on dukes? No. This one was the search. Dukes. Yeah, dukes. Dukes is the 1620 most popular name in blah, 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 data which collected from U.S. Genius. The Duke name appeared 27,000 times. This is just Duke's name. The Dukes were one of the ancient family of England, also Ireland. Okay, white people again, England, Ireland, white people again, Caucasian again, England, Ireland, France, Italy. They are among the earlier recorded by both in the pedigree, pedigree, lineage, race, bloodline, pedigree, bloodline of the nobility of the land. So the Duke of England, the Duke of Ireland, the Duke of France, the Duke of Italy, it was literally pedigree, bloodline. So when the Bible talk about dukes of Edom, and then we see now that the dukes were affiliated, they were the highest rank of white people in France, Italy, and then also to in England and Ireland. So that's all white people nations. This is all white people. So prove that when we talk about that white people is the so-called Esau, Edom, which we're trying to reveal because they hide from that. They hide from it, right? They don't embrace that they're the son of Esau like we embrace Jacob. They don't embrace that. So now why? So now the question remains. Now we know that white people, the stock of Esau is white people. Now you need to find out why they don't embrace Esau, Edom. That's the next question should be. Why they're hiding from their needs? I mean, without a shadow of doubt, I have proven. I mean, if you have some type of intelligence, I have proven it. You cannot tell me anywhere in the Bible where anyone that is Duke mentioned to any other race but Esau. The Dukes you were reading is always about history. You cannot go in history and show me where in history where Dukes was not only affiliated with white nations. It was only affiliated with white nations. And then so now it proved that, and also I went to the trait of Esau, the history of Esau, and then also this book by their own people. This book affiliated Esau with so-called white race. These books. So their own people affiliated themselves. Their scholar affiliated themselves with Esau, Edom. So now the question is, why are they hiding? Why then? Why so they hide from their race? Why they don't want to be Esau? Why they don't want to be known as Esau? Right. So now we're gonna first read from this. Esau is hated by God. Perhaps the most unique and unusual attribute possessed by Esau Edom is his adversary relationship with God. So he's an adversary to God, right? He says, let me see if I can get this bigger. So he's an adversary to God. Esau has on the first page, on the last page, we read that Esau is the beast, Esau is Antichrist, Esau is this and that. So Esau also is the adversary to God, which is the Bible also tell you that. He's the enemy of God. The scripture revealed that God never had any love for Esau. God loved Jacob, and in fact, God hated Esau. I love you, Israel, say the Lord. Yet you say, how have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, say the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. And let his mountain and waste and heritage to waste for the dragon of the wilderness. That God hated and anger toward Esau is not a one-time event. It is a convey in the fact that Edom was he's the end of the world. So let's go to the Bible. God hated Esau. It mentioned in the New Testament also too. So you cannot tell me, oh, that's the Old Testament. It's new too. So God hated Esau in the New Testament also too. Because Paul that they use the strong foundation of their belief is Paul because they use Paul to say God. They use Christ also. They use Paul mostly for their religion, but Paul tell you that God hated Esau. So let's go to some of the Bible verse. These I don't need anymore, so let me close it so I can have a little bit more memory. So my computer don't act up as much anymore. Um, I don't need that anymore. So let's go to some Bible. Um, I don't need meaning because I know what the meaning is already. So KJV. Malachi. So that was the first one, Malachi. And the one I want, the one in Roman 9:13. So let me close this. I don't need you anymore. Right here. I hated Esau and laid his ways. So Wherein Edom say, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they will build, but I will slow down, and they will call them the border of wickedness. So God said he will call Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white people, they are the border of wickedness. And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So indignation meaning that it's a hatred that's like it's a deep hatred. So it's a people. So it's not just Esau, the men, but it's a people, the race of Esau that God have indignation, deep hatred for forever, just like in the book it tells you. So let's go to Romans chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob I have loved, but Esau have I hated, because it's written in Malachi. Right? So that's what Paul has brought up, that God loved Jacob and hated Esau. So, and then that's what the author also brought out. A white person brought out that God hated Esau. So this is a people that God hate, right? So I prove to you, that's the main reason why Esau is hiding who he is. Well, that's not the main reason. We'll find out the main reason later on. Hated Esau. I know I have two of this. Esau versus Jacob. Um, you know, this history is there, but this is where all the chapter I was reading, I was showing earlier. Um, let's see. So Jacob has God told vengeance. There's there's more in the story of Edom demise revealed in the scripture that must be considered. And then again, this is why Esau is hiding who he is, because Esau know his demise will come. So he's hiding who he is. So on the last day, he doesn't think that we're gonna know who he is. Or when the God destruction, nah, we know who he is. You are, because the people that God will choose to destroy you, they're all gonna know exactly who you are, even if you either hide under another skin. um, which Edom is destroyed. It is Jacob that God will use to destroy and kill Esau, Edom. In Obadiah prophesy, it said that Jacob be a fire. Obadiah 18. Let's go to it. So let's read this. We'll go to it. This is not purifying or refining, but fire, but by consuming and destroying fire. This is a fire will be both kindle and devour the house of Esau, which is regarded as stubble, has substance which can be easily burned up and destroyed. Like stubble, Esau's very nature is the catalyst and bring about his own destruction. It is interesting that the Jews or Jewish people have chosen the word Holocaust, meaning the world of something which is born. The whole house of Esau is described as being born up. A true Holocaust is about to occur. The Jew cry never again. Yet happen this destruction will happen to the Jewish and at the white race, and also the white race has verified by Ezekiel. So the whole white, he's just saying that the whole white race will be wiped out. So let's go to Obadiah, but he put white Obadiah. Let's go to Obadiah chapter 18, right? So before let's switch. We gotta go to Obadiah chapter 18. So that's the to actually show you what he's saying is true. Obadiah chapter 18, verse 1. Obadiah 18, I'm not 18, 118. 118. Obadiah 18. 118. So Obadiah 118. So again, this is the main reason why white people run away from the Esau Edom. They're hiding that they are Esau Edom. The Jewish people hiding from that they are Amalek. You know, they are pretending to be Jacob. The reason why the white people spend all their energy and power and resources to hide who they are, to destroy Jacob, to do everything they can do to destroy Jacob mentally, physically, and do everything. And then this is why Jacob troubles prophesied.
because God is also say, God say his own people, two shall be cut off, right? Two shall be cut off. So Esau will definitely manage because Esau's God sword, and that's why God hate his sword because God hate punish his own people, right? God hate punish his own people because God love us. It's the only people God show love. There's only ways that God show love in the Bible or the history of the Bible. God don't show love to anybody else. God literally say he loved Israel, he loved Jacob, he loved Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He shows his love to them. So God literally shows his love to Jacob, right? So, but God also, because he so love us, he punished Jacob because we signed a blood covenant with God. So because we sign a blood covenant with God, God will use Esau as his sword is the same way God is going to use Jacob as his sword toward Esau, right? So Esau, right now, Esau is doing everything under the sun. So Esau will, through everything that's happening, Esau will succeed to kill 66% of Jacob because that's prophesied. Only 33% of Israel will be saved because those are the ones who's going to repent, who's going to accept that. Um, and they need Christ and they need the commandments, right? They keep the commandments, they believe in. But has the has the has Charles A. Wiseman has said that Esau is hated by God. Esau is the only people that have not. There's no promise for Esau, and it is also that Esau will be destroyed by Jacob. So this is where he referred, and he said he told you Obad 18. So which means Obadiah chapter 1 verse 18. He didn't tell you the chapter, because Obadiah anyway have one chapter. So 18 anyway. This is where he tells you the prophecy is that God is gonna use Jacob. He says that, and the house of Jacob will be a fire. And then this is why you know that religion is worse than crack. Religion is 100% false because they tell you whoever believes can have everlasting life. But Esau cannot have everlasting life because he will be utterly destroyed. And the house of Jacob will be a fire. And the house of Joseph, meaning that, you know, there's two kingdoms. Uh, the house of Jacob, the house of Joseph, a flame, meaning that the northern and the southern kingdom. And the house of Esau for stubble. So they're going to be for stubble. And they will kindle in them and devour them. So Jacob and the house of Joseph will kindle in them and devour them. And there will not be any remain of the house of Jacob. For the Lord, who spoken it? The Lord spoken that thing. So even if God used Esau to manage to kill 66% of Jacob, but 33% of Jacob will be left. So Joseph and Jacob, the southern and another kingdom, God is gonna use them. God will kindle a fire in the mind, meaning that they're gonna have a perfect hatred, and the hatred they're gonna have is not gonna come from them themselves. It's gonna come from God, and God gonna give them power and ability beyond imagination. It says that, and there will not be any remaining of the house of Esau. So the nation of Esau, they're not even gonna be one of them remaining. Not a single one. Not even a single one. So this is why Esau don't want to be Esau. This is why Esau spent all his energy, influence, power to hide that thing. This is why Esau in his religion, he tells his servant that he has, these so-called pastors, preachers, minister, not to bring the scriptures out. If you dare bring the scriptures out, you lose your church. All of a sudden, that everything that's bad about you that you have done, Esau bring it out. All of a sudden you destroyed. You no longer have a church. So this is why Esau, Edom, the Edomite, the so-called Jewish people, the so-called Germanic people, the so-called Russian, the so-called white American, the so-called Turkish people, all the white race, the stock of the white race, the descendant of Esau, Edom, and I have proved it. I have proved it. I showed you a trait of Esau. prophecy of Esau. I show you that the dukes of Esau only affiliated with France, Italy, German, all white people, dukes. And the dukes mentioned in the Bible, the son of Esau, don't affiliate with any other. So there's no shadow of doubt that Esau is the stock of white people, as this book tells you. This book tells you that, explain it to you. By a white man. A white man, a Jewish, not only a white man, he's a Jewish man. A Jewish man tells you that the stock of the white people are the descendant of Esau, Edom. So now we understand why they don't want to be Esau, Edom. We understand why they change their ways, their name, their identity theft. They whatever country they go and conquer, they steal their name and they take the name of that people. They in Israel, they no longer Khazarian or Amalek. They used to be Amalek, they became Khazarian. They're no longer Khazarian, now they Jewish, right? They go to England, they stole the land, they become English people. Now they're no longer who they were. They go to they now Irish, they're now Turkish, they're now Russian, they're now whatever land they stole. Now they're now American, right? So whatever their land they go, they take up the land, and then they call themselves white, right? They call themselves Caucasian, but they never call themselves Esau Edom. They never call themselves Esau Edom. So why again? This is why, because Esau is promised to be destroyed by God people, and not even a single Esau will be remained. That's a single one. So if Esau uses influence and power, which is his blessing, is with the sword. He uses his influence and his power, and then this book tell you how perfect Esau uses his influence and power. It tells you exactly everything they do to use their influence and power. This book tell you that. So Esau uses influence and power to hide everything, to hide the identity of Jacob, to hide his own identity. And then that's why it's always Esau versus Jacob, Esau versus Jacob, Esau versus black people, Esau versus history will always be Esau versus black people. You can see that Esau doing everything to control black people wherever so-called black people are. The Jacob, where Jacob is. You see Esau use all the nation to go against Jacob. Esau hiding, spend his money, influence, and power to hide the identity of Jacob, the Israelites, and also to hide his own identity. Because Esau believed that he's God, he's more than God. He's so prideful of the power that God gave them. And he doesn't understand that the power and influence that he had, God gave it to him. Because God wants to punish his own people. God wants to correct his own people. Because through the correction of God, God gave Esau power because we break God's laws and commandments. So God is punishing us through Esau, but not Esau observe himself as God. He think now the power that God gave him, he can fight God with it. That's why this book tells you that Esau is the adversary of God. Esau is the enemy of God. It has the Bible also tell you Esau, the so-called white people, are enemy of God. Esau knows that. Esau think that through his influence and power, when the time comes, we're not gonna know who he is. We're not gonna know who's gonna fight. We're not gonna know who we're gonna go against. When Christ come back, he think that he's gonna have enough power to fight Christ, to overtake Christ. That's his pride. He's a very prideful man. Esau, instead of enjoying his kingdom, his wealth, right? He have strict rules and policy. Even his own people cannot enjoy their own kingdom. Marry only one wife. Only have one wife. Only have so many kids. Pay tax for everything you have. He, because he has so much hatred for Jacob, trying to destroy Jacob. He oppresses his own people. He oppresses his own people because he doesn't. Esau would have been so smart if Esau make people know who he is and then tell people that Jacob is Jacob. And then the reason why we're doing that is because these people are chosen God people. If they come to power, we're gonna lose power. All white people, I guarantee you, will have been hand in hand. Not all of them, because there's always few. There are always few that willing to serve. And then even in the history of the Bible, if you read it, King David, the history and everything, the book of King, First King, Second King, First Chronicle, Second Chronicle, First Samuel, Second Samuel, you see that there were white people who were willing to serve. Even under Solomon, there were white people who were willing to serve, who knew, like willingly, freely serving. Some we had to force, most not most we had to force, but some willingly. Even nowadays, some of the white people who know that the real Jews are the black people, they come and tell us that we understand that you are the real Hebrew Israelite. We know you are the chosen people, right? He said, no matter what happened, we will learn to serve you. And they're willing to bow down and kiss our feet. We see there are white people that have that kind of trait. So there are white people who are willing to, we know not all of them will be hand in hand with their own brothers and sisters. We know that, right? But it doesn't matter. It's the nation that is going to wipe out. It doesn't matter the individual. It's just like Jacob, the nation of Israel, all was punished. Even all of us was not wicked. Daniel was not wicked, but he went through slavery. Jeremiah was not wicked, but he went through. Christ was under the Romans. Christ, look at what happened to Christ. So the whole nation has to be punished. So when God prophesies, it's not for an individual that's separated from the other people, it's the whole nation. So God, when He's gonna remove a cancer, He's not just gonna cut a piece of the cancer, God is gonna remove the whole cancer. So when Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18 said that there will not be any remain of the house of Esau, so there won't be any remain of the so-called white race. So it doesn't matter, then you have a wrong understanding of John 3:16, you so-called Christian. Your own people telling you that exactly what's going to happen to you, and he gave you scripture upon scripture. So this is a man that understand prophecy and Bible. You gotta go into it. You gotta go into it. Look, this is some of the table of contents he has in there. Jacob blessing, dominion, Esau statute, dominion, economy control, government and political control, Edom one world, time, Jacob trouble. He understands there's even Jacob. He don't understand even Jacob trouble. Most so-called black people don't even understand Jacob's trouble is coming. Esau war against Jacob. Edom motive to kill Israel. Edom treachery against Israel, abortion, ritual, murder, interracial marriage, conclusion, and comment. Esau, Edom, exit of Esau, Edom, meaning that that's Obadiah, meaning that the Esau is done. Jacob has got to vengeance. He's referring to Obadiah. Edom and Babylon. Jacob deliverance. Who he even understands Jacob deliverance is coming. He didn't say world deliverance. He said Jacob deliverance. Conspiracy and conflict, a divine plan for evil. So this man understand this so-called Jewish person who telling you that the Jewish people are not the real children of God. He tells you they are the stock of Kazalian, they are the stock of Esau, and then he told you the whole white race is the stock of Esau on this book, which align perfectly with the Bible. In history, if you go through history, you see that the characteristic of white people is Esau, Edom. So now we know that, let me make sure this is okay, it's right. We know that Hezestes look at dukes. Genesis 36, these were the dukes of the son of Esau, the son of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, Duke Tamar, Duke Omar, Duke Sephor, Duke Panah. And then when you go to the history, the noble title of Duke is one of the highest ranks. So it's the highest rank. It is a hierarchy, right? It is a very important. It says that it's attributed with prince and royal family, France in Italy. Italy was is the mother lode of Rome, the center of Rome. France, and then you go to more history of the dukes, you find out that only white people affiliated with Duke, only white race affiliated with Dukes, which is Esau was only the nation that was affiliated with Dukes. So it proved that in the Bible, Dukes are the white people are the children of Esau. I never see a history of the East Indian and the Elam affiliated with Dukes. I never see the Ammonite, the Ammonite, the Japanese people affiliated with Duke. I don't see the Moabite, the Chinese people affiliated with Dukes. I don't see Kush, the Ethiopian people affiliated with Dukes. I don't see Ishmael, the Arab people affiliated with Dukes in the history. I don't see Mizraim, the Egyptian, affiliated with Dukes. I don't see any Hamite nations affiliated with Dukes. The only people that affiliated with Dukes are the so-called white people. It is in their history. It is the highest honor one can earn in a white nation, is to be a Dukes. Why? Because you are the son of Esau. You are bloodline descendant of Esau. That's why it's the highest. But people don't know that. People don't know that. You are pure blood of Esau. But people don't know that. People don't know that. They don't read. They don't like to do research. They like to follow what the world does. They like to follow a multitude to do evil. So again, the reason why the so-called white people, the real Edomites, are hiding who they are and hiding the true identity of Jacob and hiding their own identity is because of this scripture right there. Obadiah 1 chapter 18. Because Jacob will be a fire, a flame. He was that will kindle in them. God will kindle that fire in them. It's not their own hatred. It's God hatred that's gonna be in them. And God gonna use his own people to devour them, and there will not be any remaining of the house of Esau. So not a single Esau will be remaining. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter where. And not even a single one that will be remaining. Not even a single. You see that in the Bible, regeneration. People regeneration after third and fourth generation. You come back again, you play out your punishment. And then Christ mentioned it. Christ, even the prophet, when they asked who John was, John the Baptist, Christ says, if you believe it, John the Baptist is Elias, right? John the Baptist is Elias. That was prophesied. So John the Baptist, Elias came back at John, and then there's many other scripture that shows you that. And then even it says in the regenerations. So when we regenerate again, we play out our punishment. So these people, they're not even gonna be regenerated anymore. They're not even gonna come back into the full generation. They're just gonna be wiped out. Their spirit will be wiped out. They're gonna be wiped out. They're not even coming back anymore. So God created 18 nations, only 17 nations will be left. That's why I say God is gonna put his sword away. Because God will wipe them out. Because God saw this is why he was blessing. This is why Abraham gives it his blessing, the sword and the fatness of the land, because he is God's sword. God uses him for every evil. That's why it says he is the border of wickedness right here. He's they will build, and I will call them the border of wickedness. He is the border of wickedness, and it is the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. God has a deep hatred for them forever. God said that these people are the border of wickedness. They are the border of wickedness. So when you go to Obadiah, then it makes sense. When you go to Roman chapter 9, verse 3, it makes sense. No, Verse 13, Romans chapter 9, verse 13. Romans chapter 9, Jacob has I loved, Israel have I hated. It mentioned even in New Testament, the hatred continued for Esau. Now you can understand why Esau is the border of wickedness. Why Esau is the one that pollute the air. Esau is the one responsible, 100% responsible for polluting the air. Esau, the white people, the so-called white people, are the one responsible for polluting the air. The white people are the one responsible for polluting all the waters. You cannot drink the waters. Go to a river, try to drink the water in the river. Don't you think you're gonna get sick? Most of the time, die instantly or die later. If you don't, they don't take you to a hospital. The waters are polluted. That's why he has to filter the water. It goes through a system where you have to pay for the water. He controlled the water. He's the God of wickedness. The water is freely given by God for everybody for free, but he controlled it and then he poisoned the other water so that way you don't go use it. And if he sees you go use the water, you're arrested. He give you a ticket and then he give you jail time. Even I didn't know that it's against the law for you to collect rainwater and use rainwater. The water that come down from heaven for free, he has a policy and law in place that the free water that come from heaven, if you collect it and use it, and if he catch you, it's against the law. He killed all the animals, most of the animals, almost wiped out a lot of animals. He's the god of wickedness. The trees, he's destroying the trees to build cities, to build factories, to build plants, to build buildings. He is the border of wickedness. He caused wars everywhere. He killed more than any other race in the world. He's the border of wickedness. Diseases, he spreads diseases. He goes to the lab. He does experiment to create deadly diseases and spread them to the suburban communities, to the ghettos, to the black people communities, to the Hispanic communities. He spread them, and then he's on people he doesn't regard them. He's even on his own people he doesn't care even if his own people are gonna be affected by it. He spread diseases like there's no tomorrow. The food that you eat, he poisoned them. He put so much thing on the food that you eat, you can even read it. Sometimes, like so many ingredients he put in there, you tired. Like by the time you get to line 3, and the word he put, you can't even pronounce the words of them. And it takes you forever to research everything he put in the food. The food that he giving you is killing you, giving you cancer, giving you all kind of crazy things that never happened to you that you had never experienced before. Our ancestors did not experience. And he doesn't regard his own people because his own people is eating the same food. He's the border of wickedness. The medication that you take, he poison the food, he poison the water, he poison the air, you get sick. And then he causes disease. Now you go to the hospital to get some healing. The medication that he subscribed is not to cure, but to heal for a moment of time and have long-term, short-term, long-term effect. And then it tells you if you read it, sometimes instantly kill you. So the medication that he gave is also poison. He is the border of wickedness. He is the border of wickedness, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. He is the border of wickedness. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think, he created technology to destroy. He created technology only to destroy. He gives weapons to people who don't know weapons. Peaceful people who live to live peacefully, but when they go to the land and find out they have gold or minerals, they no longer live peacefully. He created goals like people. He gave them weapon and then come and destroy the villages, the people in the community. Then he comes and steal the minerals, bring companies in there and steal the minerals. He is the border of wickedness. What other nation and ways that you think is doing that other than him? He poisoned you with his policies, politic, democracies. Look at Haiti. Before that, Haiti was a prosperous country, very prosperous country. The pearl of the Caribbean, wealthy in minerals, natural resources, um, coffee, cocoa beans, sugar, uh, 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 um, you name it, coconuts. The water was rich with fishes, right? The country was this little island was a very wealthy island, very, very wealthy island. He came, he took over, he changed people culture, their history. He buy everybody who's in power. He put everybody in his pocket. He influenced everybody there. He destroyed them. Look at Haiti now. He created gangs. He created different groups of politicians. Now they're fighting against each other. He gave this money. He gave that money. He gave this power, and then he created confusion in the country, religions. Look at Haiti now. Extremely unsafe for anybody to live. The air in Haiti is very polluted. There's somewhere it's polluted everywhere, but it's like it's crazy. Who is responsible for that? In Dominican Republic, the same thing. He makes the Dominican hate the Haitian hate the Dominicans. You go to Jamaica, same thing. You go to Bahamas, same thing. It doesn't matter where he is. He is that person behind everything that's happening. He is the border of wickedness, as the Bible say. He is the border of wickedness. And then it makes sense why God have a indignation for him forever. And then it makes sense now why there's gonna be not any of them remain because he's a virus. He is a virus. And if you let this virus continue on, he's gonna spread. Has he had already been spread? That's why he said the nation had drank in the cup of the great hall. You can see his influence in China. You can see his influence in North Korea, South Korea. You can see influence in Vietnam. You can see influence in the whole continent of Africa. There's over 50 countries. You can see his influence in India, Ethiopia, Egypt, you name it. Whatever continent, whatever country, whatever people or race, you can see his influence is there. Who's the border of wickedness? Who else? He's a virus. He's been spreading. So the only way you can kill this virus is totally wipe it out. And then after this virus is done, the world is gonna know what peace is. No man will lift up their sword against another man. Every race will follow God. Every race will abandon their idols. That's why you see that there's promises for every other nations, but only him. There's no promise for him of forgiveness for him. That's why. Let me show you. Uh, from this compact Bible dictionary again by white people scholars, not by Hebrew Israelites, not by us. Let's switch, and I'll show you what it says about them. Let's switch. Let me find. Let me see if I can find it. Esau, Edom. Okay. Right here. Edom figure prominent in the prophetic scripture as scene of great future judgment. And that great future judgment which I showed you, Obadiah 1 chapter 18. See notably in Isaiah 34 5 6 61 1, also to Obadiah mainly 1 chapter 1 verse 18. Esau, she is represent Esau, He is the only neighbor of Israelites. And not only he's a neighbor, he's a brother. Not only he's a brother, he's a fraternal brother to the Israelites, to us. Instead of Esau living in harmony with his brother, love his brother, show his brother love, instead he's been destroying them, killing them, doing everything he can do to get rid of them. He has been doing everything in power imaginable he can do to kill his own fraternal brother. That's why it says from the beginning, they struggle in the womb. They two nations, two separate people from the bowels. They've been fighting since from the womb. This is why Esau, who he is, Esau is today. Instead of Esau loving his brother Jacob, his little, and yo, that's your little brother. You're supposed to be taking care of your little brother. You're supposed to be protecting your little brother. That's your job as an elder brother. You're supposed to be protecting your brother, not destroying your brother. We are your fraternity twin. You're supposed to be loving us. You're supposed to be protecting us. You're supposed to be caring for us because that's the duty of an older brother. But you conspire. You the number one conspiracy. The number one person that conspire against us. You the one who go to all the other nation and bring them together and conspire against us, having secret meeting against us. You Esau. You the one number one. You supposed to be the one protecting us because we are your little brother. So it's not just neighbor. It's not even neighbor. We are fraternal twin. We are in the same womb. You came out first, so you're the elder. So now it's supposed to be your job to love, to protect, to show me the way, because you're older, to show me how to do things. Because that's what an older brother does for a little brother. Little brother follow older brother everywhere. Little brother copy older brother with everything. But it's totally opposite. You hated us. You don't want to protect us. You're the one who's actually killing us. But the Bible, they say we're going to look different. So that's why we look so different. We two separate nations, two separate people who are separated from the bow, who are separated from the womb. So Edom, which is Esau, which is the so-called white people, modern people, Asian, there's a great future judgment for them. Isaiah 24, verse 5, 6, chapter 63, verse 1, Obadiah 1, 18. Esau is the only neighbor of the Israelite, the blood brother, blood brother, who was not given any promise of mercy from God. So out of the 17, 18 nations God created, so Esau was the only nation God don't give any promise or mercy. And then that's why it says that they are the border of wickedness and God will have indignation for them forever. And God don't give them any promise. And then this is why the only promise that they received is the great future judgment. And Obadiah, as I've shown in Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. This is the great future judgment. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. And the house of Jacob will be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they will kindle in them and devour them, and there will not be any remaining of Esau. And then it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. You always see Esau with Jacob. It makes sense. Esau enslaved Jacob. Esau oppressed Jacob. We pick over $7 trillion of patent for Esau. We built Esau kingdom, right? We do all the dirty job for Esau, right? We continue to maintain Esau's kingdom. Not only we maintaining Esau kingdom, we also entertain Esau. We entertain Esau. We entertain, not only we entertain Esau, we are Esau's business. They use us in soccer, they use us in basketball, football, you name it, right? Boxing. We make his music, movies. We make his a billion, trillion, and trillions of dollars in different avenues of different fields, different industries. We are the business. We are the workforce. We are the entertainments. We build the country, and also we are the brains behind everything they do. We are the brains. A so-called Nigerian blogger from Nigeria is the highest paid and the smartest robotic engineer. So a lot of those engineering things you see behind all these new robotic things that come in, this blood is behind that, right? So you name it. In order for them to go to space, the calculation was this woman we saw the movie. I forget her name, right? So a lot of things you name it, you research and then you see them, you see, oh wow, a black person did this. So we are the brain, we are the bone, we are the strength behind everything they do. We are again the workforce. We are again the money, the wealth, right? Their wealth is they use us for their wealth. And we are the entertainments. We make them laugh. We the jokers that makes them laugh, right? The pastime. If you remove all the black people from every sport, white people are not gonna watch sport. The one that's probably gonna watch it is the KKK. Because the KKK are truly racist, meaning that they're only for their own people. They're true separatists, right? They only want their own people. So there's a small group of them who only want to see their own people with everything. They want to be separated. They only want to see a white neighborhood only, white market only, white police force only, white hospital only, white sport only, white entertainment only, white only everything. That's a true Esau. But even him, he went away from the name of Esau. He went away from his own nationality. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't. When you tell them he's Esau, even though he's so racist, he still don't want to be Esau. He still doesn't want to be Esau. But he's so for his people. If our people were like that, we will be different. We will be totally different. If our people were like that, we for our people, everything for our people, we care for each other, we love each other, we help each other, we protect each other. This will Jacob will be in a different place. But again, it is the prophecy of God that we are where we are because Esau is God's sword. Esau is supposed to is used to destroy us, right? Esau is used to destroy us. So again, the live today was about who is Esau, Edom. So I've proven it. Esau, Edom is the start of the so-called white people, the Caucasian. It doesn't matter where they are. All praises to the Most High God by Hashem Yorushai, happy Sabbath. Uh, everything was shown through the Spirit. It is the will of God in this last day for us to have this understanding. I know Esau, you watch. I know you're in control, you're in power. I understand that, Esau. But the will of God has to be done no matter what. A lot of us will be tortured and killed, put in jail. All kind of craziness is going to happen to us. The people that are chosen, we prepare for that mentally, physically. Christ had to suffer, and you know the history of what Christ had to went to. All, all the disciple prophecy went through that Esau. So, but you know that Esau, the truth will come out. What I'm doing does I don't have a lot of influence because I don't have a lot of followers, right? But this is gonna come out in such a big way, Esau. It's not even probably not by us. God is probably gonna use you, Esau, to bring the truth out to the whole world, right? The truth that you're hiding, your own people, God is most likely will be using to bring the truth out, right? Like your reporters, the people that you so trust, they're gonna turn on you, Esau. Your own people gonna realize that they are the own problem. They are the problem of the world. They are actually the one that causing everything. So there's you're worrying too much about us bringing out the truth while your own people, you don't even worry about them. So your problem is within your own self, within your own household, right? A house that is divided cannot stand. So I hope you understand the saying. All praises to the Most High God by Hashem Yahweh.